What's up? It's your guy, Bear Coat Finance, back with another fresh do and banger of a video. So guys, this is it. This is the second stimulus check. It has been all but confirmed, and it is a part of the HEALS Act. HEALS, which stands for Help, Economic Assistance, Liability Protection, and Schools. Apparently the schools was the short end. They just were like, slap that on there. Or as what I like to think that it says, Help Everyday Americans Live. Psych! Because this is only going to be a band-aid on what is about to be millions of Americans evicted from their rental houses. All this information can be yours if you hit that YouTube like button for the algorithm. I need it. See how many subscribers I got? Let's make it out. Let's make it more. Come on. So this is the newest bill that's going to be proposed by Congress. Right now, it's totally within the speculation realm, but we should hear something by August 7th, just before they go off on holiday. In this video, I'm going to break down what we're going to be expecting to see on the finalized bill, but that's going to go ahead and cover topics such as a means to provide loans to small businesses to keep half of Americans employed, a tax credit to businesses who are keeping their employees, a proposed $450 a week to people who just sign on to new jobs, not for anyone who has one already, and hopefully eviction protections. Not to mention a small little thing like a second stimulus check, but I'm sure nobody's excited about that. Again, this is still within the speculative arena, but the check has pretty much been confirmed, aside from just an actual, we're cutting the checks. So let's go ahead and break down the details of this second coronavirus check we should be expecting in the mail, hopefully soon. So this check is going to be largely similar to the last one in the sense that there is $1,200 going to every single filing taxpayer and $500 for dependents. But there's actually a new thing with the $500 that are going to dependents. It's no longer age gated. Before, you had to be under the age of, I think, 17. Now, any dependent on any tax return. Single filers have to make less than $75,000 a year, while married filers have to make less than $150,000 to be eligible. Not to mention, you're going to lose $5 for every $100 you are above those thresholds. Even more good news is that since the government has the information from the first check, the second one should come out A, a lot faster, and B, not go towards dead people and prisoners like it did before. Oops. Now we just gotta cross our fingers and hope that nobody wants to sign the checks after they've already started printing again. Come on. Next up is unemployment benefits. Up until a few days ago, everyone who was on unemployment received an additional $600 a week in addition to their unemployment payments. But the government figured that's a little bit too high and people were starting to make a little more than they were back when they were working. So they decided to scale it back. We're talking somewhere either $200, $450, or up to 70% of what you were making before you received unemployment. Just to give you an idea of how important this unemployment package that we received for the first time was, it basically hard carried our economy to keep it somewhat sane. For instance, experts say that every $1 put back into the economy because of these benefits increased nationwide spending by $2. For our non-economists out there, that's basically getting 20 chicken nuggies when you only ordered a 10-pack. That's a steal. Next up is the Paycheck Protection Plan. Since a good chunk of the cheap loans were taken by Shake Shack and other large cap companies, the government has made some steps to make sure that large cap companies don't take another $234.4 million out of the $349 billion in the pot. That's about 7% of all of it. Seriously, there was some shady stuff here. Almost as bad as the Panama Papers, but much similar to that big issue. Nobody's talking about it. According to my sources, there's now going to be $190 billion up on this sort of table here. And the good news is it can only be taken by companies with less than 300 employees and have received a 50% revenue drop in Q2. But it says nothing about shell companies. There's also various lawsuit shields out there for businesses, doctors, and schools, but it doesn't protect them from any sort of gross misconduct or willful negligence, and that's a good thing. Large chunks of money is also going towards reopening schools, testing, and trying to find a vaccine. Most importantly, there's talk about a 100% business meal tax credit, which, as a tax manager for over 6 years, is massive. See, normally for business meals, they only can take home about a 50% tax credit on the entire chunk of the meal there. But these meals account for massive swaths of receipts and spreadsheet pages whenever you're trying to file their deductions and everything. It's huge. And this will really bump up business tax deductions, I can already tell. So now, if you're a company, you can eat out and receive twice as much benefit as before. And now it is time for our less than likely bonus round. What? Skr, skr, skr. Oh my God. These are the ideas that the government has been kind of tossing around, but there hasn't been really that much action seen. There's a couple of hearsays here and there, but they're more than likely not going to be on the final bill that we see. But we could be thrown for a loop. First up the bat is payroll tax cuts. If you're working right now, you would be receiving a bonus of 7.65% on every check because those are the taxes that you don't have to pay. But I think they probably took it out because that would leave a lot of stuff like Social Security and other social work to be largely unfunded. And there was some talk about a $450 back to work credit that you would be receiving, but nobody's really been talking about it, and it's unfair to people who already have been working and also for those who aren't working. So it really benefits like the least amount of people possible. And that will be it. I mean, that is pretty much everything that they proposed on the HEALS Act. Again, we'll find out on August 7th whether or not what's going to be actually on pen to paper, as well as anything there. But again, I got to remind you, the $1,200 check has pretty much been all but confirmed. The details already been pretty heavily ironed out. Like I said, what we've got there is the most conducive evidence of what is going to be on these checks and the rules around them. So I think that is pretty much going to be written in. But again, if we don't hear about the 7th, we're going to have to hear weeks later whenever Congress reconvenes. That's just how they do. They work for a bit and then they decide to go back to their home counties, home states, and kind of, the idea is to talk with the people again and figure out really what they need. Kind of brings them back into the hometown so they're not constantly in DC. Go ahead and check this channel out on the 7th, and I'll go ahead and I'll let you know if there's any sort of news whatsoever. It's going to either be a short video, me going, no, nothing yet, or an actual breakdown where I will be referencing back to this video you see and what has been true and false. I'm going to look into the future right now, and I'll tell you one thing that's already been denied, and that is TikTok. So sorry, fellow TikTok creators out there. It hurts. Be sure to hit that like button on this video. It really helps me out and helps out the algorithm. Go ahead and leave a comment saying what you would be doing with your additional check that you get. That's another $1,200, maybe more if you got kids or any sort of parents you're taking care of. That's $2,400 from the government, man. That is pretty darn good. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you again in the next video. Ciao.